Zeus ran, not retreated, not strategically repositioned. Ran, the king of the gods, the same entity who orchestrated a planetary blackout to win the gigantomachy, who had imprisoned the Titans in the deepest pit in creation, turned his back and fled. What could do that to Zeus? The answer is Typhon, and here is the classified detail that ancient sources buried in the footnotes. Typhon didn't just make Zeus flee, he captured him, extracted his sinews, left him helpless, a god without power, in a cave in Cilicia while the world above burned. This is not the version they taught you, this is the full classified report. Threat assessment, Typhon. Born from Gaia and Tartarus, the deepest pit of the underworld, Typhon was not a creature of the earth, he was a creature of the void beneath it. The last fusion of primordial chaos and the physical world. Physical threat classification, extreme, from the thighs up, humanoid, vast, mountain-sized, his hands reached east and west simultaneously, touching opposite horizons. From the thighs down, a mass of coiling serpents, hundreds of them, each one capable of independent action. His voice was not a voice, it was every sound simultaneously. The roar of a lion, the bellow of a bull, the hiss of every serpent ever born. Ancient sources describe it as the sound of the world breaking, and his eyes, they did not glow. They discharged fire, not as a power, as a baseline state. But here is what makes Typhon categorically different from every threat that came before him. The giants were domain-locked. Titans were imprisoned. Every previous threat had a structural weakness baked into its design. Typhon had none. He was not constrained by territory, not bound by prophecy, not dependent on Gaia's connection. He was a free-range extinction event. And the first time Zeus faced him, Zeus lost. First contact, Mount Casius, Cilicia. Zeus descended with his full arsenal, thunderbolts, the weapons that had split the sky in the Titanomachy, the same weapons that had staggered every giant in the gigantomachy. Against Typhon, they landed, and Typhon kept coming. Here is the classified sequence that Apollodorus preserved and most retellings skip. Typhon closed the distance, overpowered Zeus in direct combat, and extracted his sinews, the tendons from his hands and feet. The physical source of divine strength. A god without sinews cannot move, cannot fight, cannot call lightning. Typhon deposited Zeus in a cave in Corycus, Cilicia, left him there, assigned a dragon, Delphine, to guard the sinews, and turned his attention to Olympus. Decoded, this was not a battle, this was a surgical disarmament. Typhon did not want to kill Zeus, he wanted to neutralize him, remove him from the equation, while he dismantled the Olympian order from the top down. For a window of time, however brief, there was no Zeus. No thunderbolt, no Olympian command structure, just Typhon ascending toward a throne that had no one left to defend it. While Typhon moved on Olympus, two assets executed a recovery mission: Hermes, the god's intelligence operative, and Pan, the one Olympian whose nature was chaos enough to operate in Typhon's territory without drawing immediate detection. Pan's contribution was not combat. It was psychological warfare. Pan unleashed a sound, a blast of primordial panic so intense it scattered Typhon's attention. One moment of disruption, one window. Hermes moved inside that window, reached the cave, recovered Zeus's sinews. Here is the decoded layer buried in this moment. The word panic, as in the sudden irrational fear that overwhelms rational thought, comes directly from Pan. From this exact operation, every time a soldier has broken rank without understanding why, every time a crowd has stampeded without a visible threat, every time fear has spread faster than its cause, that is Pan's echo reverberating from this cave in Cilicia thousands of years later. The gods did not win this war with strength, they won it with a distraction and a theft. Zeus rearmed, and the second engagement looked nothing like the first. Rested, restored, and now tactical. He pursued Typhon north into Thrace, and here is where the intelligence operation shifted from recovery to containment. Typhon attempted a counter-move, hurling mountains. The Hymus range, torn from the earth and throne. Zeus deflected with thunderbolts, shattering them mid-air. The fragments became the landscape of northern Greece, geography written in the wreckage of divine combat. Typhon fled south. toward Sicily. Zeus made the same call Athena had made against Enceladus. He took the entire mass of Sicily and drove it down onto Typhon. Not as a killing blow, Typhon could not be killed by containment alone, but as a permanent suppression system. Typhon is still there. The fire that erupts from Mount Etna, the same mountain under which Enceladus was already imprisoned, is classified in ancient sources as Typhon's breath. Two primordial threats layered in geological containment beneath a single volcano. Decoded, Mount Etna was not a natural landmark to the ancient Greeks, it was a maximum security facility. Here is the layer that changes everything. After his containment, Typhon's legacy did not end, because before the war, before Zeus recovered his sinews, before the rematch, Typhon had a mate, Echidna, half woman, half serpent, the mother of monsters. Together, they produced the entire roster of Greek mythology's greatest threats. Cerberus, the three-headed guardian of the underworld. Orthrus, the two-headed dog of Geryon. The Lernaean Hydra, the regenerating serpent Heracles spent his second labor killing. The Chimera, lion, goat, serpent, fire-breathing. The Sphinx, destroyer of Thebes. The Nemean lion, the first labor of Heracles, the creature whose hide could not be pierced by any weapon. Every monster that defined the heroic age of Greek mythology. Every creature that tested every hero. Every beast that demanded a new level of tactical thinking to defeat. They all trace back to one source. Typhon was not just a threat, he was a weapons program. Gaia didn't just deploy him to destroy Olympus in direct combat. She deployed him to seed the world with permanent tactical problems. Threats that would drain Olympian resources, test mortal heroes, and keep the pressure on Zeus's order for generations after the war ended. Even in containment, even buried under a volcano, Typhon's mission continued. His children kept fighting it. Zeus won the war against Typhon, but he did not undo what Typhon built. The Hydra survived until Heracles, the Sphinx survived until Oedipus. The Nemean lion survived until the first labor. Cerberus guards the underworld to this day. Every hero of the Greek mythological canon was, in some way, completing the mission Typhon started. That is the decoded truth. The official version never states directly, Typhon lost, and the world was still fighting his war for centuries afterward. But Typhon's mate, Echidna, was never destroyed, never contained, never hunted. The gods made a deliberate decision to leave her alive, in a cave, breeding. Why? That file is being decoded. Subscribe, stay at your post. Because the gods had more secrets than they ever admitted, and we are just getting started.